Capricorn, a betrayal is being prepared in silence. You need to know this. Capricorn, have you noticed something off lately? That subtle shift in the air, the silence that lingers too long, or a familiar face that suddenly feels unfamiliar? You may think it's just your imagination, but the stars whisper otherwise. A betrayal is being prepared in silence, and the universe is sending warnings loud enough for your soul to hear, if you dare to listen. This isn't just about someone hiding the truth, it's about a lesson that you were destined to face. And the timing? Impeccable. Pluto and Mercury are aligning in a way that turns shadows into revelations, secrets into thunderclaps. You, Capricorn, the pillar of strength and structure, are about to walk through a door that has remained hidden until now. This isn't just a message, it's a cosmic summons, to see, to awaken, to reclaim the power you've unknowingly given away. If you've been sensing that something is out of alignment, you're right, and if you're watching this now, it means your higher self is already preparing for the truth that's coming. I'm Elizabeth, your guide in astrology, psychology, and spiritual healing, and on this channel, we don't just predict the stars, we interpret their messages for transformation. If this message resonates with your spirit, don't just watch, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your story may be the spark someone else needs to awaken to. Now, are you ready to see what's been hidden in plain sight? Chapter 1. Signs in the silence, when instinct knows before the mind. Capricorn, you are not one to panic easily. Your foundation is built on reason, discipline, and a mastery of emotional restraint. You have walked through storms that would break others, without flinching. But this is different. This time, the storm isn't outside you. It's behind a familiar smile. It's inside a voice you've trusted. And it's whispering something your logic hasn't caught, but your instincts already have. You see, betrayal doesn't always arrive with thunder. Sometimes it shows up in whispers, in tiny inconsistencies, in energy that just feels wrong. Have you noticed delays in replies that were once instant? Excuses that feel rehearsed? Glances that look away when you ask simple questions? These aren't coincidences. These are breadcrumbs. And your intuition, long buried under Capricorn's practicality, is starting to gather them. Because beneath that armor of reason lies a gift you often overlook, a powerful, ancient instinct, one that doesn't rely on words but speaks in feelings, dreams, gut reactions, and right now, that inner compass is ringing like a quiet alarm in the night. The cosmic alignment between Mercury, the planet of truth and communication, and Pluto, the revealer of all things hidden, is now piercing the veil. What has been done in silence will soon echo loudly in your reality. The universe, in its perfect design, never lets deception live in shadow for long. Capricorn, you've always prided yourself on your discernment. But discernment is more than intellect. It's presence, it's stillness, it's trusting that small feeling in your chest when something doesn't add up. You may be tempted to explain it away, to assume the best. After all, loyalty is your cornerstone. You don't give trust easily, but once given, you protect it fiercely. That's what makes this coming moment so painful and so powerful. Because when betrayal creeps in, it doesn't just shake your faith in others, it shakes your faith in your own judgment. And that is the hardest part to face. But let me tell you this. You are not wrong. Your intuition is not exaggerating. And this experience is not here to destroy you. It's here to initiate you. There is a reason the truth is surfacing now. The patterns are no longer sustainable. The masks are too thin to hide what's underneath. And your soul, your higher self, has decided, it's time to see what has long been ignored. You might receive a sign in a dream, a phone call you weren't meant to hear, a slip of the tongue, or maybe, the truth will simply land in your heart like a bolt of quiet knowing, and you won't need any more proof. Whatever form it takes, remember, the universe always sends signs before the collapse. It never lets the tower fall without offering a way out. So pause, breathe, and listen, not to what's being said, but to what is not being said. Capricorn, the silence is speaking louder than ever. Are you finally ready to hear it? Chapter 2. The breaking point, choosing truth over peace. There comes a moment in every Capricorn's journey when holding it all together costs more than letting it fall apart. You've spent years building, not just careers and dreams, but reputations, relationships, entire constellations of stability. Peace, to you, is earned. It's constructed, brick by brick, through loyalty, effort, and showing up when no one else does. But what happens when peace becomes a prison? What happens when maintaining the harmony starts to silence your own voice? Capricorn, this is the breaking point. Not because you are weak, but because you are finally strong enough to see the truth and choose it. Even if it shakes the very foundation you've laid. Even if it disappoints those you've tried so hard to protect. Even if it leaves you standing alone. For a moment, this betrayal, whether in love, in friendship, in the hidden chambers of your inner circle, isn't just an emotional wound. It's a spiritual initiation. The universe is asking you one of the hardest questions it ever poses. Will you honor the truth, even if it costs you comfort? Because here's the paradox: Capricorn, the keeper of structure, is being called to break a pattern. The pattern of tolerating almost enough. The pattern of overcompensating for someone else's emotional immaturity. The pattern of peacekeeping at the expense of your own inner alignment. This betrayal is not an accident. It's the cosmic mirror showing you the places where your boundaries were soft. Where your loyalty was exploited. Where your silence became complicity. And now, you get to choose. Will you continue the performance? Smiling through the tension, rationalizing the inconsistencies, pretending not to notice the lie? Or will you dare to confront, calmly, clearly, with all the dignity that Capricorn carries like second skin? It's not about drama. It never was. You're not here to explode. You're here to elevate. To take what was meant to break you, and turn it into the moment you redefined who you are. Yes, confronting the truth will be uncomfortable. It might shatter illusions you worked hard to protect. But illusions are not worth the price of your peace. And silence, when kept too long, becomes self-betrayal. Capricorn, you've always stood for integrity. Now, you must demand it, from others and from yourself. This chapter of your life is not about being right. It's about being real. And no matter how painful the truth may be, it will never harm you as much as living a lie will. The stars are watching. The alignment is perfect. And you, grounded Earth sign, are standing at the edge of transformation. So let me ask you now, if this is the moment you've been avoiding. What would happen if, just once, you chose truth over peace? Because in truth, Capricorn, is where your power truly begins. Chapter 3. The Sacred Lesson, Pain as a Portal to Power. Capricorn, no one teaches you how to heal from betrayal. No one prepares the strong for the moment their strength is no longer enough. But this pain, raw, sharp, uninvited, is not just here to wound you. It's here to wake you up. Betrayal is never about just one person. It's about what you've tolerated, what you've explained away, the moments you swallowed your voice for the sake of peace, the inner nudges you dismissed as paranoia, the boundaries you allowed to blur because you believed they could change. Or worse, that you could endure it. But you weren't meant to endure this. You were meant to transcend it. Capricorn, you've carried the weight of the world for so long. Responsibility has become your religion. And yet, here you are, facing the one thing no rulebook can prepare you for, the shattering of trust. And still, there is power here. Because in this very moment of pain, the universe offers you a sacred lesson. You are not responsible for someone else's deception. You are only responsible for what you do once the mask falls. This betrayal is a portal, a cosmic invitation to return to yourself. To stop shrinking, to stop settling, to stop confusing being the strong one with being the silent one. You may not have seen this coming, but your soul did, and it called it in, not to punish you, but to liberate you, because what you were building was beautiful on the outside, but rotting beneath the surface. And now it's time to clear the soil. You may feel anger, you may feel grief, you may feel like the ground beneath you has crumbled. Let it, because in that crumbling, something greater is emerging. Your truth, your voice, your boundaries, your intuition, your power. This pain is not permanent, but the wisdom you gain from it will be. You will no longer mistake kindness for submission. You will no longer confuse loyalty with self-abandonment. You will no longer give endlessly to people who offer you crumbs in return. You are being reborn, not as someone harder, but as someone clearer. Clear in your values, clear in your expectations, clear in your sacred no. Capricorn, this isn't just about protecting your heart. It's about recalibrating your soul. It's about honoring your energy so fully, so unapologetically, that the universe rearranges itself to meet you where you stand. So feel the pain, let it move through you, then rise, because when the dust settles, you'll find something unexpected, you, stronger than ever, but no longer carrying what isn't yours. This is your turning point. And from here, nothing stays the same. Chapter 4. The 40-Day Rebirth, a cycle of closure and clarity. Capricorn, transformation doesn't happen in a single lightning strike. It happens in waves, gentle, then fierce, testing the truth of who you are, over and over again. And now, as the shock of betrayal begins to settle, the real journey begins, the sacred 40-day rebirth. Why 40? In many spiritual traditions, 40 represents the full cycle of transformation, the time it takes for endings to become beginnings, for pain to turn into power, for truth to dissolve illusion. It is a number of completion, of cleansing, and Capricorn, you are entering this exact gateway. In the days ahead, your life will feel like it's shifting beneath your feet. Not violently, but deliberately. Little by little, the universe will begin to remove what no longer belongs in your story. Relationships that felt essential will suddenly feel heavy. Commitments that once defined you will feel restrictive. And voices you used to trust may sound strangely hollow. This is not chaos. This is alignment. Each day of this 40-day cycle is like a page being turned. Some pages will hurt to read. Others will bring unexpected clarity. But everyone is moving you closer to something Capricorn values more than anything: truth with integrity. During this time, dreams will become messengers. You may wake up in the middle of the night with vivid visions or emotional clarity. Keep a journal, write everything down, even the strange symbols or fragments of conversation. These are not random, they are the whispers of your subconscious working with the divine. Pay attention to who reaches out, and who fades away. Pay attention to the signs. A book falling open to a passage that stirs something inside you. A stranger's words that hit too close to home. An old song on the radio that reopens a memory you've buried. The universe is speaking to you in a language beyond logic now. Don't rush to interpret, just observe. You are not here to force answers. You are here to receive what you were previously blind to. Capricorn, this 40-day portal isn't just about letting go of someone else's betrayal. It's about letting go of every version of yourself that accepted less than what you deserve. It's about walking away not just from the person who hurt you, but from the patterns that attracted them in the first place. You may find moments of deep stillness in this cycle, where the world feels quieter, slower, more spacious. Embrace them. This silence is sacred. It is within that silence that your next vision will be born. At the end of this 40-day rebirth, you will not only see the truth more clearly, you will feel lighter, more aligned, and ready. Ready to speak without fear. Ready to love without compromise. Ready to trust, not blindly, but wisely. This is your emergence. And when it comes, others will notice. They'll say you look different. They'll sense the boundary that now surrounds you. They'll feel your energy shift, not louder, but stronger. Because Capricorn, what you are creating now isn't just a new version of you. It's the true version, the one that doesn't apologize for feeling deeply, knowing intuitively, and demanding sacred reciprocity in all things. Let the cycle complete. Let the clarity come. The rebirth has already begun. Chapter 5. The Return of Power, a new standard for every relationship. Capricorn, there is a moment after the storm, when the sky clears not with fanfare, but with stillness. No more chaos, no more pretending, only clarity, and the quiet strength of someone who has walked through the fire and refused to be turned to ash. This is where you stand now. The betrayal was never about the other person. It was about the mirror it held to your soul. The lesson it forced you to see. The standard it dared you to redefine. You see, the moment the mask fell, yours rose. And not the kind of mask that hides, but the one forged from truth, from boundaries, from the silent vow that says, never again. Capricorn, for too long, you've accepted relationships built on your resilience rather than reciprocity. You've overfunctioned, carried emotional loads that weren't yours, offered grace to those who mistook your patience for permission. But now, everything changes, because this experience didn't just break your heart. It broke open your clarity. And in that clarity, you no longer settle, not for half love, not for shaky loyalty, not for those who say all the right things but shrink in the face of accountability. You now set a new standard, not out of bitterness, but out of reverence for your own soul. You now ask different questions when you meet someone. Do they honor their word? Do they hold your energy with care? Do they see you, not for what you do, but for who you are? You've stopped asking for bare minimums. Now, you radiate a frequency that demands depth, presence, and truth. And here's the secret the betrayer never understood. They didn't take your power. They returned it to you. By failing you, they revealed what you no longer need. By hurting you, they cleared space for someone who will truly hold you. And in that space, the universe moves. Soon, people will appear who match your new vibration. Connections based not on control or dependency, but on truth and mutual expansion. You'll find conversations that flow without walking on eggshells. You'll rediscover joy not rooted in obligation, but in shared presence. And most of all, you'll stand in your sovereignty, not lonely, but whole. Capricorn, this is not the end of your story. It's the page where the font changes, the chapter where the character becomes the author, where your wisdom no longer whispers, it leads. So take this new standard and build with it. Build love, build friendship, build a life that reflects the power you reclaimed. Because once you've seen the truth, you can't unsee it. And once you've chosen yourself, no one can make you forget what that feels like. You are no longer who you were when this betrayal found you. You are wiser, you are clearer, and most of all, you are free. The closing invocation, from betrayal to rebirth. Capricorn, what began as betrayal has now become a baptism. You've walked through the fire of disillusionment, and instead of burning, you've been forged. You've felt the weight of someone else's deception, and rather than collapse, you've stood taller. You've looked into the eyes of someone who broke your trust, and instead of shrinking, you've reclaimed your voice. This was never just about heartbreak. It was about liberation. This pain was not a punishment. It was a rite of passage, a sacred test to see if you would choose yourself, not once, but repeatedly, in every silent moment where your worth was questioned. And you did. Now, you carry something no betrayal can touch. Self-respect that doesn't tremble. Boundaries that don't bend. An intuition that speaks louder than anyone's lies. This is your ascension, Capricorn. The false has fallen away. The real has remained. And from here forward, everything in your life will either honor your truth or disappear. So if you are still holding on to the last thread of a story that no longer fits your soul, let this be your moment of release. Let the cycle close. Let your heart rise. And let your next chapter be written by the version of you who has remembered who they truly are. Now, I invite you to reflect. What truth have you been ignoring? And are you finally ready to trust your soul more than your fear? If this message resonated, share in the comments how you're reclaiming your power. Your words may be the lantern for someone else walking this path beside you. And if you're ready to continue this journey of deep healing, clarity, and cosmic wisdom, like, subscribe, and join me for future readings. Because Capricorn, this isn't the end, it's the rise of your real beginning. From the ashes of betrayal, a new kind of strength is born, the kind that bows to no illusion and bends for no lie.